In the Governing Body Update Number 8, airing on December 15, 2023, it was announced that beards are now acceptable for all men in the worldwide congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. The update also reported on an adjustment made in 1968 that gave Jesus back his beard. See the snippet here.
What about Jesus? Did he too, as an Israelite, wear a beard? For some years, based on the conclusions of certain archaeologists, our publications most often portrayed Jesus as clean-shaven. But in 1968, the Watchtower considered more reliable evidence from both historical sources and the scriptures.
But notice that the video didn't say when Jesus lost his beard, only that he was shown as clean-shaven for some years. When did he lose his beard, and why? When Jesus lost his beard and got it back. It started in 1930 and lasted some 38 years until 1968. Interestingly, the last picture of a bearded Jesus was in the 1929 book Prophecy, displaying a dignified bearded Jesus before Pontius Pilate. The following year, the Booklight one displayed a coronated clean-shaven Jesus blowing a trumpet. Then the Booklight 2, without any comment, displayed a color picture of a clean-shaven Jesus before Pilate. 18 years later, the 1948 Awake magazine article, "Did Jesus Wear a Bushy Beard?" reported on depictions from archaeology allegedly of Jesus that, quoting a professor, would be the earliest type of Christ as far as is now known in early Christian art. Continuing the quote, later in the 3rd century Christ appears still as youthful but with long, curly hair, and from the 4th century on, the more familiar bearded type appears. Thus, the bearded Jesus was claimed to derive from the later era far removed from Jesus. Later, the 1954 Awake magazine presented the article The Beard's Checkered History, which opened with this interesting claim. According to tradition, Adam was created with a beard. However, tradition has never been a reliable source of fact. Some maintain that the fruits of man's chin are a part of the curse God bestowed upon man for eating the forbidden fruit in Eden. Then the rest of the reasoning from "Did Jesus wear a bushy beard?" was used, with the same conclusion that Jesus began to be portrayed with a beard from the 4th century on. Thus, it was now speculated to be a sign of Adam's fall, justifying that the perfect Jesus would be beardless. Questions from readers in the 1954 Watchtower magazine continued this archaeological justification introduced in "Did Jesus Wear a Bushy Beard?" and attempted to interact with the scriptural evidence. In dealing with the messianic prophecy in Isaiah 50 verse 6, which mentions the Messiah's beard, it stated, "Some use Isaiah 50 verse 6 as proof that Jesus had a beard. I gave my back to the smiters, and my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair. I hid not my face from shame and spitting." It made two observations on how it was fulfilled on Jesus. First, it noted that the Gospels do not mention Jesus' beard being plucked, along with the other abuses. Second, it appealed to the Greek Septuagint where it is paraphrased as, "I gave my back to scourges, and my cheeks to blows, and I turned not away my face from the shame of spitting." It summarized. The record in the Gospel states all this did literally happen to Jesus. These observations rendered this would-be proof text as inconclusive. It was not considered that slapping Jesus could result in some facial hair being plucked off. Following this, a short Watching the World article in a 1956 Awake magazine added additional archaeological evidence from a fresco in a Roman catacomb that showed Jesus without a beard. Finally, 20 years after the 1948 article, the questions from readers in the 1968 Watchtower magazine stated,
"Biblical evidence is the most reliable testimony to be found on this question, and a recent careful review of what it says indicates that Jesus did indeed have a beard. Like all other Jews, Jesus was under obligation to keep the whole law. One of the commandments of the law was, 'You must not cut your side locks short around, and you must not destroy the extremity of your beard.' Leviticus 19 verse 27.
It also quoted Isaiah 50 verse 6 and left the Hebrew version as the final word, not even mentioning the Septuagint. Also, Adam got his beard back. Thus, this error spanning almost 40 years, from 1930 to 1968, was corrected when the words of man, speculation over Adam's beard and archaeological opinions, yielded to taking the Bible more seriously, specifically, including Leviticus 19 verse 27 and taking another look at Isaiah 50 verse 6.